when you've got a guaranteed contract. I mean, look at Ezekiel Elliott. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and Zeke was a dominant running back when he entered the league. But then once he signed his big deal, I think 2019, he was fat and he was lazy and he'd completely lost his burst, and he was just phoning it in. Now, it's impossible to just phone it in as a running back and still succeed. So he was just a waste for the Dallas Cowboys, because once he had his guaranteed contract, like many players, they lose their motivation. And so I think Howard Stern has just lost the inner fire. And it's not surprising. I mean, how many people doing a daily radio show are able to keep that fire burning 4 decades later?
Absolutely. But at the same time, his obviously preferred method now of gaining publicity, which he cares about, I think, I don't think it's gone away, him wanting to get recognition for his show. His preferred method now of gaining publicity is picking fights with people like Wendy Williams, Donald Trump, and of course Joe Rogan, people who have much more fame on a day-to-day basis than he does. It would seem that this is a form of clout chasing, which is typically what people do when they're lower on the fame and fortune totem pole than somebody else. And it looks rather desperate for someone like him, who obviously used to be at the top of that totem pole. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we never get to graduate from the game of status competition. We never get to rise above it. We never get to be so spiritual or so successful that we don't need to concern ourselves with status competition, because where we are in the status hierarchy, that has a huge determinant on our health, on our psychological health, on our happiness. So do people look up to us? Do people admire us? Do people enjoy us? Do people want us around? Or do people shy away from us? For example, let's say I tell a story about yesterday. Let's say someone tried to rob me and I had to fight them off. And let's say the first two people I try to tell that story to, they just blow me off. It's like, and they just walk off. But by the end of like 2 or 3 engagements like that, I would start to doubt that what happened had really happened. All right. We understand ourselves in relation to other people. Howard Stern understands himself in relation to other people. We never get to graduate from status concerns. We all have a ferocious desire for status. Most of this ferocious desire we're not even conscious of. We unconsciously will start to imitate the speech mannerisms, the pitch, the intonations of people above us in status. We will unconsciously start to mimic their beliefs and how they carry themselves and how they dress. This isn't even conscious. We just unconsciously start aping and imitating people above us in social status. So we are wired to ferociously compete in the status game, and people will usually compete in it until their last conscious hours on Earth. I mean, nobody wants to be thought of as a loser. I mean, that's embarrassing. And embarrassment is awful for you. It's devastating to your health, to your psychological health. A precipitous drop in status is probably the most effective predictor of someone committing suicide. People deal very badly with precipitous drops in status. So even when you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars like Howard Stern, even when you're making over $1 million a show, you will hate steadily falling in status. And you won't even be conscious necessarily of it, but you will be clawing back to try to be in the conversation again. And I don't think any of us are immune from this reality.